you having experience, I think you know what will and will not heal nicely over time. But a lot of the artists out there, some of them new, some of them not, they'll mix pigments together thinking like, oh, this is gonna, like, this looks great right here, but they don't really take into consideration, or they don't know how it's going to heal over time. And you know that's when we see, like, we've seen some brows, it's like, I don't know what color that is. Like, it's just mixed, and it always seems to turn like this burgundy color, and we're like, oh no, here we go again. Like, we can tell right away.
Yeah, and it's frustrating because then you feel like this industry's in this vicious cycle and there's no changes being made. It's like same pigments, then the laser and the yellow, you know. Yeah,
that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to do this podcast, was to bring a little bit of awareness about pigments and what works with laser, what doesn't, all of our experiences. I'd like to share it so that way we can help educate people.
I think too, the way pigment is implanted in the skin, when it's oversaturated, that's when you really get the more ashy gray tones, and then there's the corrector put on top. So if everybody could just lighten their hand and the pigment load, you'll see that color a lot more. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
If you're delicate with the application, then you'll see a nice crisp.
And then your touch-ups are a lot more refreshing to see those warm colors without oversaturation all the time.
Well, I think that skill comes with confidence. If you have confidence and you know how it's going to heal, because when you're doing the tattoo, you have to trust the process as the tattooer or as the artist. You have to know how that's going to heal. And if you don't, and you try to do too much, the next thing you know, you have a big blown out tattoo that's just going to turn to a blob.
Right.
And I learned that the hard way, tattooing, when, you're doing like a little script or something like that, and you think, oh, that letter's not dark enough, I need to go over it a few times to get it to, I want it to heal dark. And you see it like a year later, and you're like, oh man, that thing is blown out. I went way too hard. Any type of line work, that is the case. I think that would be a very difficult thing to tattoo. Is like, you're tattooing on the face, there's hairs there, and you're trying to do single needle lines on like, can you pick a harder thing to do?
I know. Well, it's funny too, because my clients with no brows, or alopecia clients, those are the best. It's a clean slate. It's almost like a piece of paper. It is like needle in a haystack when people have full hair. Trying to fish in there and find that line, but it's fun. Yeah, sometimes I do sit back and I'm like, wow, these people have so much trust in me. I'm tattooing their face. It's pretty rewarding,
It is. And it's the same with doing with the removal. Sometimes we see people come in and they're not happy with their brows at all, and they look after the first session. When we do get lucky sometimes, and we'll just completely remove it.
Oh yeah, I have those clients. Yeah, and I post them on my Instagram. They're still there. Just like, look at this. But also, you educate that it's not always going to be that way.
Yeah, it's definitely not, but we do get lucky sometimes. And when we see those clients look in the mirror, and they, we have people crying for joy all the time. But then again, there are some other ones that are not as easy at all. So I don't want anybody to get the impression that this is an easy process. On average, it usually takes anywhere between 3 sessions and 6 sessions to completely remove the pigment and not damage the skin. And I always tell people, they hem and haw about, 3 to 6 sessions. And they do the math in their head. They're like, oh, that's going to be, 8 months or whatever it's going to be. And I tell them, I say, we can get that off in 1 session if you want, but I don't think that's what you want. You want to do it safely. You don't want to damage the hair follicles. You don't want to singe them off or create scar tissue that you can't cover with the tattoo. So that's my goal. When you send your clients to us, I want to educate them. I want to do the job properly and send them back to you with a nice clean slate with no scar tissue.
It's important taking care of their skin. And again, I always say, this is your face. Like, don't just cover it up and then have to deal with, because you're going to have to deal with it. At some point, you're going to have to get it removed. And now's the time, before you make it worse. And then you are dealing with all those funky colors and who knows.
We normally say after laser, it's a good idea to wait at least 3 months before you get tattooed again. And sometimes we see our clients and you'll post a picture of like redoing their brows, or like another artist will post it, and it'll be like 3 weeks after.
Oh, no.
And
I've had clients that come to me, and as soon as my needle is in the skin, sometimes even when I'm drawing, like I'm like, this is like butter skin. This is not healed. I had a client once that I knew she wasn't honest with me about how long it had been, and that was frustrating. So I make it, learning from that experience with that client, I make it really clear, like, we need your skin to be fully healed for you to get the best results.
So when you see somebody come in immediately after getting laser and you try to tattoo the skin, what's the difference? Like, how do you know that the skin is not fully intact?
Well, it all depends. Sometimes I have to go a little slower, make sure that the pigment is setting in there. But again, it all depends on the skin type. It can be very different. I switch my needles sometimes to a little bigger of a configuration.
But do you notice it? Like you said, butter skin earlier. So do you mean like the skin is so soft that it's not firm enough you feel like it's not going to retain the pigment?
Sometimes, yeah.
That's what I think. And that's what I normally tell people.
Yeah. And you can tell, I mean, like I said, that one client in particular, when I wiped my first stroke, it was like almost gone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, girl, like this, come on, I slowly got a little bit more out of her. She didn't come to you for the removal, but I think a lot of that had to do with maybe some scarring as well from the previous work, but her skin from the removal, like, it was pretty bad. Like, you can tell. But yeah, I do make it a big point. Like, I will not touch you unless it's been 3 months.
Yeah. I think 3 months is a good amount of time. If I know I've gotten laser, in spots like on my leg or whatever, and the feeling after a couple weeks, it's not done. It still has to kind of get back to normal, and it does take a couple months minimum. It's not a great feeling. I'll be the first to say that. I actually hate getting laser.
No, mine wasn't bad at all.
Was it?
No. And did you numb me? Do you not? I don't even remember.
I don't know if we use numbing cream.
I just remember the ice cube and then the hose, and it was so fast.
We use ice. We use the chiller. It's usually pretty fine. For me, though, I don't know if I'm just a sissy or if I'm hypersensitive or whatever, but it hurts. And I know after even a month's time, I do not want to tattoo over that spot. Like, there's no way in the world. I've had laser on my legs and like arms and stuff. But if it was my face, I think definitely waiting the amount of time that is recommended is probably a good idea.